While we're waiting for the executive to show up.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, Secretary, members, we had a meeting last week with, the Blue Water Group, and we talked about extension of the lease in years and extension in acreage. And I guess the substitute amendment that's coming to the floor, it's gonna be an extension in years, 2 years. And what we're looking at right now is, we've asked, Glenn and Wolf Fiedler, is that right? Okay. We've asked them to come in and do a presentation real quick and kind of get us up to speed, being that this is something that we have yet to really hear much about. Past hands from Van, Black Eagle, and now OCOG administration. So if I can ask you, gentlemen, to come up this way and we'll set this up. We've asked them to do a PowerPoint, and I don't know, we got a projector. At this time, I'm gonna go ahead and, we have everything going? Okay, at this time, I'm gonna hand the mic over to Mr. Glenn Landry.
want that. Do we?
No. It's just,
And we want PowerPoint.
Hello? If, can I? Yes.
What I'm into. What do you want? Yeah, maybe. But, that's better slideshow. I think that's as big as it's gonna get. Okay, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Secretary, members of the body. Thanks for your time today for this. We're gonna give you a rundown on what we've been doing out here on this project. I was given an old letter from Mr. Watt regarding some of our history, and it's amazing how far back we do go on this project. We started in 2008, and before we got too far off the ground, the price of oil fell, and with heavy crude, it's pretty sensitive to that margin, and we had to shut it down. And then we came back, and we got the reinstallation of the project, and we were off and running again. And that was around 2010, and we've since drilled 5 wells. And I think we'll just go ahead and go through the PowerPoint and show you where we're at. We're out by Pryor, as most of you probably know. And this is the little rig that handled our project out there. It was just plenty for this project. To make it bigger?
Yeah.
just a slideshow.
I did, but it didn't see slideshow up there. If it would stay like that, we'd be fine. So this is the rig that did most of the wells out there. We had another company do some of it, but handled the job very well. Our target out there was a 10-sleep sandstone. It's a heavy crude in this case, and it's only at 660 feet, so a small rig can handle it. We drill with an air compressor as much as we can. If we start to get moisture, then we use soap. It's a biodegradable soap. Makes for a pretty clean well. And we even core with it. So our operations were air to air mist, and then we use soap. Our 2 exploration wells were the Crow Tribal 1122 and the 13-8. Both looked promising, both got cased. At that point, we had spent about $800,000 in the drilling operations. The 1122 was most promising, and that's where we pursued more of our development. The 3 wells following that were around the 1122 to set up for a development project. And 1 permit was denied by the BLM. It was to be a future injection well. Otherwise, we did, we had 6, but we really were approved for the 5. And that was our total expenditure for 2012. There's Dr. Lopez and myself. We logged this core coming out, and we had got some very promising core, and the air mist operations you can see on the right. That's total impact of the drilling is right there. It's a pretty small deal, very small. Here's the core we pulled, and it is oil saturated. Very exciting to get to this point where we start pulling the core. We could have as much as 40, 42 feet of commercial pay, so it does hold some real promise. Under a scope, you can see on the left that the oily fragments look like almost little beads. That tends to tell you we're looking at a good sand, almost like a can of marbles or a jar of marbles. When you have nice round grains like that, you leave plenty of room to fill it with oil. Under a black light, when we're looking at these cuttings, we'll put some solvent on them to see if the oil will come out, and it turns milky white. And then we know we've got plenty of oil when we've got those cuttings. Once you get the oil out of the cuttings, it leaves the brown rings on the right. Now this is heavy crude, and nothing happens with these cuttings unless you either use a solvent or heat to get the oil out. It's just not going to flow on its own. What we're planning on doing is a 5-spot steam drive system. It's as good a plan as anybody can come up with right now. We will bring out a steam generator, and the center well will receive steam and then drive the heat and the steam to the perimeter wells. And in that way, you're liquefying the oil, and then you're pushing it to the receiving wells. We'll probably start by heating up the receiving wells as well as the injector, and then start driving that steam in hopes that it will communicate and we can deliver oil to the offsets. The actual survey for the 5-spot isn't the perfect square you see on the lower left. We are testing this 5-spot to see how well the oil will be transferred to the receiving wells. So we have different distances there, and where we are in hopes that we haven't even drilled the long one yet. So we will see. We'll do the test in the close wells first that are already drilled. Then we'll add the perimeter wells, and if we can get steam drive out to these perimeter wells, it really opens up the economics of the project. Imagine having to drill twice as many wells to get the same effect. So we hope that we'll drive steam as far out as the one that's around 650 feet. If we're successful in doing that, then the perfect 5-spot system on 40 acres would be applied. As far as where we're at, we did get our EPA permit to inject steam in January. It took us 8 or 9 months. They were not hard to work with. We like the people. It did take a long time to us, but they did issue the permit, and they've never done one before. This is the first steam injection permit the EPA has done out of the Denver office for this region, at least, maybe both regions. So it's new to them. We have a good working relationship with them for future permit requests. We did get the drilling permits from the BLM, all except for the 2 that we'd like to drill now, and they've been hung up. So they're considered pending. The BLM has signed off, and we have some problems there with the BIA getting signed off, and that's taken way too long. We could have drilled those last July. The water well permit is in your folks' hands, and we understand there's no problem. We did acquire a steam generator. It won't do as much good without that water permit. It's going to take quite a bit of water for that steam generator to work. So we just recently pulled the trigger on the steam generator, so it's coming. We're working with BLM to get more permits. We'll probably need quite a few out there. And every well will have to have its own permit. We'll have to start over on every well with the APD. So the lease extension is requested because, well, we couldn't get the last two drilled last year, and then we need to drill and explore more. Outside of that 5 spot, we'd like to explore and test several more structures in there, and hopefully they will look to be similar to what we've got. Project operations, from here forward, as of today, we're requesting that lease extension, get that water source permit, then we'll deepen our discovery well and make a water well out of it. That'll be our water source for the project. And then the steam generator will run the steam in the other wells. But we've got to get that water source well deepened real soon. The EPA wants integrity tests on the wells to make sure the casing is good, there's no leakage. We ran high temperature, high quality cement on these casings, not like other cements. It can handle heat, expansion, things like that. So we expect that the EPA test is just a procedure. We don't expect any surprises there. We'll start in May probably with the workover, and that means setting the thermal packers in the receiving wells, and that's of course probably when we'll be done deepening the water source well. We'll get our tanks moved in. Maybe we won't even wait till June. We've got 1 tank out there now, so we'll have to have some tanks there, so when we start the steam generator, we've got plenty of tankage for the oil. Steam test will start in July. That would be a good target date right now. If we can do better, we will. That steam test could run at least 30 days. We're not looking for just the fact that we're going to make some oil with the steam generator. We know that. We don't know if it's commercial. So we have to see that how much steam it takes to make a barrel of oil. We're very encouraged based on the size of the reservoir and the porosity in the reservoir, but that's still a risk. At that time, we'll get the batteries all complete, the tank batteries, all the flow lines will be set up. And after the test, if we like our steam to oil ratio, we'll go forward with getting those other 2 corner wells drilled. And we probably won't do any more testing until we get the gas pipeline brought over from WBI. And we have maybe a 6-7 mile line there. But the propane used for the steam test is pretty expensive. So after the steam test, we're going to have to wait till the pipeline's in, I think. If we can make a profit using propane to heat the water for the steam generator, then we'll stay right with it and keep producing it. But if we have to shut in till we get the pipeline, we will. Without the pipeline, yes, we're in about another 1,115,000 from here today as I speak until September. And that really doesn't include additional exploration wells, but we expect them to go in the following year. The size of the steam generator we are getting looks a lot like the one in this picture. It's capable of handling the 5 spot. It's not going to handle 2 5 spots. So we'll have to get either one larger generator for 2 5 spots or acquire another generator as we go along. That'll come out as a natural growth of the project. That's pretty well where we're at. We're hoping that perhaps the luck you folks have with connecting on that WBI for gas to the homes out in the area, if that comes along, we'll make sure that WBI provides a large enough tap. We could use the same tap to bring in gas for our project. And that would save quite a bit of money. So we'll have to keep in touch on that.
Glenn, do you have a map of the proposed area after you're done talking here? Kind of give the guys a view of what's being looked at right now.
Yeah, I wonder if I do, like a map. This is basically the setup that we'll have out there. The BLM is looking for some kind of a modular plan. And the manifold and the system will try and circulate the water we use. It takes a lot of water to move the oil, but we'll go water back with the oil, and then we can recycle it and use it over. It's easy to knock the oil out of the water. So there may be a slight change in the configuration, but this is basically the way it looks. Okay, in summary on this, by March 2014, we hope to drill and complete the balance of the 5 spot. Maybe drill as many as 4 more exploratory wells next year between spring and next winter. And hopefully those exploratory wells will open up some more ground there. Plenty of risk. It's not a blanket deposit, so we do have risk. Probably another $3 million next year for that work. Now, as far as map, I don't know if I've got it.
Is there internet on this computer? Because we have to go on our website.
I think so, yeah. It's called Blue Water Petroleum.
Okay. How do I get out of this? Back. Internet. And I don't know about online here. Well, we might see if that has problems, we have this on the internet. Is it on? Oh, yes, sir. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Okay, blue one, thank you. Make it big now. Check. Oh, okay, sure. I hear that. But, there we go.
So if anybody ever wants that information, it's a very good website.
Let's see if we can find you a picture.
This is for the committee's information that this is their official website, if anybody has any questions concerning this.
There's a little video on it that will show us right where those roadside right now. So, do you have an office on Friday here?
This will go right where the 5 spot is, where the exploration well is. It's a video that's accessible on our website. That's a permitted well that we would like to drill next year for exploration.
Right now, the Blue Water Petroleum lease is up in August, right?
Yeah.
And what Wolf and Glenn are asking for is an extension in time. So we're looking at another 2 years. And so this is where we're at today, and this is what's gonna be coming to the floor, and I've asked these gentlemen to come to before the body during session so they can go ahead and update everybody on where we were, where we are, where we want it to be. And so Wolf says he can get oil in the tanks in 6 months, so we just need a water permit, right?
Well, we need the water permit to go ahead, and we need it took about 9 months to get the EPA approval. It was very difficult, and was very lucky that we had the support of the tribe. Actually, a couple of people phoned and said, don't drag it on too long because it could affect our cash flow here moving forward. So for us to attract additional investment, we need the extension. We couldn't do anything in 3 months. The land that we earned so far, we can develop, but in order to make the big capital investments, we need a couple of years. Otherwise, investors wouldn't be interested. And it's really nobody's fault. It's the EPA just takes time, and there was some change in the legislation here, so the water permit, because we're waiting for 6 months now due to some internal issues, but we're in close contact with Bill, and everything is in its works, and you don't want to start a steam project in the winter either. It's snow again today, so it's actually pretty good timing.
So this is gonna be coming up in the old business, since we've modified our agenda to come into the new business now. This is gonna hit the floor, so I wanted this presentation so that way you guys will understand where we were. It used to be Long Shot Oil, back when Chairman Van was with us.
Exactly.
We had the Long Shot oil lease, and it never really went too much of anywhere. But the Black Eagle administration now, Chairman O'Cow is bringing it back up, and so this is something that's going to be going forward in the tent sleep outside Pryor there.
Yeah, the time is actually really good right now. If you go back 2-3 years, this project wouldn't work too well, because when oil prices are low, heavy oil is not the most attractive thing. But right now, oil prices are high. People are really interested in it, and we basically broke everything open. Like EPA Region 8, which covers North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, Utah, Colorado, has never done anything like this. So basically, on Crow territory, we have the first steam injection permit in this whole area. So if everything works according to plan, which we are presenting to our investors, we have a very, very good opportunity here, because there's no reason that there can't be more oil here. And it's not, like Glenn said, it's not a blanket deposit. Which means just because we find oil here, it doesn't mean oil is on the whole table. We still have to find it, but we have some very good people, like Dr. Lopez. He eats, sleeps, breathes tent sleep. When you work for the Montana Bureau of Mines, that he wrote books about the tent sleep formation, and that's exactly what we're after. And he is our main consultant. He works very close with us. Everything we do, he's involved. He's sitting the wells when we core and drill. So we have a really good chance here. So in the next 2 years, we should get some nice production going. And when Bryce mentioned by fluke after the meeting that you are exploring the natural gas pipeline to hook up your community here, that would be very helpful, because I think your parents' house is only like 2 miles away. That would really speed it up if we can make that work somehow. And we can participate, instead of spending the money twice, we could all share the expense and everybody saves quite a bit of money. We do need the gas to heat the steam. That's basically it.
At this time, I want to open this up for a couple of questions here. I know the chairman's here, and that we've been kind of waiting for this. We've adjusted our agendas to meet this new business. So if there's any questions from the committee, this is the time to make those questions known. If not, we'll just go ahead and move on. Speaker Shane.
Thank you, Chair. So how soon are we going to be having a committee meeting again before this comes up in new business? Or is it ready to come to the floor now?
I believe it's ready to come to the floor right now, but we gotta go through the process of the lease itself and kind of give an explanation to the committee about where we're at. So possibly if we can get something talked about tomorrow morning, if that works with you, maybe at 9 o'clock, around there, we'll go ahead and, because like I said, it's an extension, not in acreage, but in years, and possibly we're going to be looking at a later time talking about extension in acreage, but not in the one shot. So we're going to be looking at this tomorrow, and we'll have an explanation from Bill. I just didn't want to hold it up today, so then that way we can kind of move forward into our agenda. And I thank these gentlemen here. Is there any more questions? Okay, I think we're going to reserve our questions for the meeting tomorrow morning, and I thank you, gentlemen. And then we'll just go ahead and I'll hand it over to the speaker.
All right, thank you. We're still in recess yet, so we'll get these guys situated. We'll get the screen up. I believe the chairman's here now. Are you ready to get back into session? Let's see how many.